Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time in my life when I thought strength was only about physical endurance. But life has its way of teaching us the greatest lessons. I learned that real strength starts in the mind. If your mind is powerful, if your focus is unshakable, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can hold you back. But how do we sharpen our minds? How do we build mental strength to overcome challenges? Today, I want to share with you 7 simple brain exercises that will help you boost your brain power and focus. Your brain is the most powerful tool you have. And just like any muscle in your body, it requires regular training to stay sharp, agile, and resilient. Imagine an athlete who never trains. Would they be able to compete at their best? Of course not. The same principle applies to your mind. If you don't challenge it, if you don't push it beyond its comfort zone, it will weaken over time. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through small, consistent efforts every single day. Think about the times you've struggled to focus, remember something important, or solve a difficult problem. These aren't signs of a weak mind, but rather a mind that hasn't been trained enough. Just as a body becomes stronger with regular exercise, your brain becomes sharper with the right mental workouts. It doesn't require hours of effort. Even small daily practices can lead to immense growth. Simple habits like reading, solving puzzles, or learning something new stimulate neural connections, making your brain more adaptable and efficient. The brain thrives on challenges. It loves novelty. When you expose it to new experiences, it forms fresh pathways, increasing its capacity to think creatively and critically. That's why stepping out of your routine, doing things differently, and embracing discomfort are key to mental growth. The moment you stop challenging yourself is the moment your brain starts to decline. It's not age that slows us down, it's the lack of mental stimulation. People who continue to learn, question, and push themselves stay mentally sharp well into old age, while those who stop engaging their minds often find themselves struggling with even the simplest cognitive tasks. Training your brain doesn't always mean solving complex math problems or reading 100-page books in a day. It means being mindful of how you use your mind every day. It's in the way you focus on conversations, the way you try to remember small details without relying on your phone, and the way you challenge yourself to think deeper. It's about breaking patterns and introducing variation in your daily life. Instead of taking the same route to work, try a new one. Instead of using your dominant hand for everything, use the other hand for simple tasks like brushing your teeth. These small acts may seem insignificant, but they force your brain to work harder, keeping it flexible and engaged. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. They wait for a big moment, a sudden transformation. But real change happens in the quiet moments of daily discipline. A bodybuilder doesn't build strength overnight. It takes years of repetition and commitment. Your brain is no different. You don't have to make drastic changes today, but you do have to start. Even if it's just a 5-minute mental exercise, do it. The more you train your brain, the stronger it becomes. The stronger your brain is, the more resilient and unstoppable you become. Routine is comfortable. It gives us a sense of stability, a predictable rhythm to follow each day. But while routines can be helpful, they can also become a cage, one that limits growth, creativity, and mental sharpness. The human brain is wired for challenge, for learning, for exploration. Yet, when we get too comfortable in our daily patterns, we stop stretching our minds, and without realizing it, we slowly start to stagnate. Growth doesn't happen in the familiar. It happens when we step beyond what we already know, when we embrace the unknown, and when we dare to challenge ourselves. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe it was learning to ride a bike, speaking a new language, or playing an instrument. At first it was difficult. Your brain struggled to adjust, to make sense of the unfamiliar. But with persistence, what once seemed impossible became second nature. This is the power of stepping outside your comfort zone. Every time you expose your brain to something new, you create fresh neural connections, making your mind more adaptable, resilient, and capable of handling challenges. It's not talent that sets people apart, it's their willingness to break free from routine and embrace new experiences. Many people live their entire lives on autopilot, repeating the same actions, thinking the same thoughts, and making the same choices. They wake up, go to work, come home, and repeat the cycle, never questioning whether they are truly growing. The problem isn't that life is repetitive. The problem is that they have stopped challenging themselves. They have settled into familiarity because it feels safe. But safety and growth do not go hand in hand. If you want to expand your potential, you must break free from the ordinary. You must challenge your mind with new activities, new ways of thinking, and new experiences that push you beyond what is comfortable. Trying something new doesn't mean making drastic changes overnight. It starts with small shifts, reading a book on a topic you've never explored, taking a different route to work, eating a cuisine you've never tried, or engaging in a conversation with someone whose perspective challenges your own. These simple actions force your brain to adapt, to think differently, and to stay engaged with the world in a meaningful way. The more you expose yourself to the unfamiliar, the more confident and mentally sharp you become. Fear often keeps people from stepping outside their comfort zones. The fear of failure, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of the unknown. But growth requires discomfort. The most successful people in the world are not those who avoided failure, but those who embraced it, learned from it, and continued moving forward. The truth is, the moment you break free from routine and start challenging yourself, you awaken a part of your brain that has been asleep for too long. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. You discover strengths you never knew you had. And most importantly, you realize that real growth only happens when you dare to step beyond the familiar. Curiosity is the fuel that keeps the mind alive. It is the spark that ignites learning, the force that pushes boundaries, and the secret to never growing old in spirit. A mind that is curious is a mind that never stops expanding. It questions, it seeks, it wonders, and in doing so, it keeps evolving. The moment curiosity fades, the mind starts to stagnate. Life becomes predictable, knowledge becomes limited, and the world loses its magic. But when curiosity is alive, everything becomes an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to see the world through new lenses. From childhood, curiosity is our natural state. A child does not accept things at face value. They ask why the sky is blue, why birds fly, why the stars shine. They are fascinated by the smallest details, eager to explore the unknown. But as people grow older, they often stop questioning. They accept things as they are, assuming that they already know enough. This is where the real danger lies, not in aging, but in allowing the mind to become rigid. The people who stay mentally sharp, who continue to innovate and adapt, are the ones who never stop being curious. They are the ones who believe that every day holds something new to discover. Learning does not have to be confined to classrooms or textbooks. It is in the way one listens to others, in the way one observes the world, in the way one challenges old beliefs and considers new perspectives. A curious mind is never satisfied with the surface. It digs deeper, always looking for a greater understanding. It does not fear not knowing. It sees it as an invitation to explore further. The greatest minds in history, the ones who changed the world, were the ones who never stopped asking questions. They dared to challenge what was known, to push beyond the limits of what was accepted, and because of their curiosity, humanity moved forward. When a person stops being curious, life becomes routine. They see the same things every day but fail to notice the details. They hear words but do not listen. They experience life but do not engage with it. But a curious mind finds excitement in the simplest moments. It looks at a flower and wonders how it grows. It hears a story and wants to know what happened next. It sees a problem and searches for a solution. This is the kind of mind that remains young, no matter how many years pass. Curiosity is also the key to adaptability. In a world that is constantly changing, those who embrace learning and exploration are the ones who thrive. They are not afraid of new technology, new ideas, or new ways of thinking. They welcome change because they see it as another opportunity to grow. The world belongs to the curious, to those who never stop learning, never stop questioning, and never stop seeking more from life. When curiosity is alive, the mind remains open, engaged, and full of endless possibilities. In a world that constantly demands attention, where distractions are everywhere, the ability to focus has become a rare and powerful skill. People often mistake productivity for doing more, for filling their schedules with endless tasks. But true focus is not about the quantity of work done. It is about the quality of attention given to each moment. When the mind is scattered, jumping from one thing to another, nothing is truly experienced, nothing is fully absorbed. But when the mind is trained to be present, to give its full attention to one thing at a time, everything changes. Clarity replaces chaos, purpose replaces restlessness, and life becomes richer in meaning. The human mind is naturally restless, always looking forward to the next task, the next moment, the next distraction. This constant movement may feel productive, but it robs people of their ability to fully engage with what is in front of them. The power of mindfulness lies in its ability to anchor the mind in the present, to bring awareness to what is happening now rather than what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. It is about being completely immersed in a conversation, in a task, in a simple breath, without allowing the mind to wander elsewhere. Distractions have become a way of life. Notifications, messages, endless scrolling through information, all these things keep the mind in a state of constant noise. Yet, the greatest thinkers, the most creative minds, and the most successful individuals have all understood one thing. Deep focus is the key to mastery. The ability to concentrate deeply on one thing at a time is what allows people to create, to solve problems, and to achieve breakthroughs. A distracted mind is weak, but a focused mind is unstoppable. Training the mind to eliminate distractions is not about isolating oneself from the world. It is about taking control of attention. It is about making a conscious choice to be present rather than letting external forces dictate where the mind goes. This requires discipline, the ability to set boundaries, and the awareness to recognize when the mind is slipping into distraction. The more one practices mindfulness, the stronger the ability to focus becomes. It is like training a muscle. The more it is used, the stronger it grows. There is power in slowing down, in giving full attention to the present moment. Whether it is a simple act like drinking a cup of tea, listening to a loved one, or working on an important project, mindfulness transforms the experience. It turns ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. It deepens connections, enhances creativity, and brings a sense of peace even in the midst of chaos. When the mind is fully present, it is no longer a victim of distractions. It becomes a force of clarity and strength. Focus is not about doing more. It is about doing things with intention, with awareness, and with the full power of the mind engaged. The brain is the most powerful and complex organ in the body, yet it is often taken for granted. People push themselves to work harder, stay up later, and ignore the signals their body sends, all while expecting their mind to function at its best. But the truth is, the brain needs care just like the rest of the body. It thrives when given the right fuel, the right amount of rest, and the movement it craves. Every choice made throughout the day either strengthens or weakens it. A well-nourished brain leads to clarity, focus, and emotional balance, while a neglected brain struggles with fogginess, forgetfulness, and fatigue. The food consumed is not just fuel for the body, but also for the mind. Every bite either nourishes the brain or slows it down. Whole foods rich in nutrients, healthy fats, and antioxidants protect brain cells, enhance memory, and improve focus. On the other hand, processed foods filled with sugar and unhealthy fats create inflammation that can dull thinking and drain energy. It is easy to overlook the connection between diet and mental performance, but the effects are undeniable. Just as a high-performance car needs premium fuel to run smoothly, the brain needs the right nutrients to function at its best. Small changes, like choosing whole foods over processed snacks or drinking more water instead of sugary drinks, can have a profound impact on cognitive function. Sleep is another crucial factor in brain health, yet it is often sacrificed in the name of productivity. The brain does not shut down during sleep. It repairs, processes information, and strengthens neural connections. A well-rested brain is alert, creative, and resilient. Lack of sleep, however, leads to brain fog, poor decision-making, and emotional instability. It is during deep sleep that the mind clears out toxins, consolidates memories, and recharges for the day ahead. Skipping on rest might seem like a way to get more done, but in reality, it only leads to exhaustion and diminished mental performance. Prioritizing quality sleep is one of the greatest investments in brain health. Movement is just as essential for the brain as it is for the body. Exercise increases blood flow, delivers oxygen and nutrients, and stimulates the release of chemicals that enhance mood and cognition. Even a short walk can clear the mind, boost creativity, and improve problem-solving skills. A sedentary lifestyle, on the other hand, slows down cognitive function and increases stress. The brain was never meant to be still for long periods. It thrives when the body moves, whether through walking, stretching, or any physical activity that gets the heart pumping. The mind and body are deeply connected. Every meal, every hour of rest, and every movement contribute to brain health. A sharp, focused, and emotionally balanced mind is not something that happens by chance. It is the result of consistent care and conscious choices. The brain is a treasure, and treating it with the respect it deserves leads to a happier, healthier life. The mind is a powerful force, shaping every experience, every decision, and ultimately every outcome in life. Every thought that passes through the mind influences emotions, actions, and the way the world is perceived. When thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, life begins to mirror that mindset, creating obstacles that feel impossible to overcome. But when the mind is trained to focus on possibilities, hope, and strength, the world transforms. The same situation that once seemed like a setback can become an opportunity. And the same challenges that once felt overwhelming can be faced with resilience. Reality is not just about what happens. It is about how it is interpreted. Negativity is easy. It creeps in through past failures, through the words of others, through fears that whisper that nothing will change. But just because a thought appears does not mean it has to be believed. The brain is adaptable, capable of rewiring itself to think in ways that serve rather than limit. Every negative thought can be challenged, reshaped, and replaced with a more empowering one. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, the mind can be trained to say, I'm learning, and I will find a way. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, attention can shift to what can be improved. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It is about approaching them with the mindset that solutions are possible and that difficulties do not define the future. The world does not change by chance. It changes when perspective changes. Two people can go through the same struggle, yet one will rise from it while the other remains stuck. The difference is not in the challenge itself, but in how it is viewed. One sees failure as the end, while the other sees it as a lesson. One believes they are powerless, while the other believes they have the strength to rebuild. The way life is experienced is a reflection of the thoughts that dominate the mind. By choosing thoughts that empower rather than limit, life itself begins to expand in ways that once seemed impossible. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools in shifting the mind toward positivity. When the focus is placed on what is missing, life always feels incomplete. But when attention is turned to what is already present, the small victories, the lessons learned, the moments of kindness, there is an immediate shift in perspective. Gratitude does not erase hardships, but it changes the way they are carried. It reminds the mind that even in the darkest times, there is still light to be found. Training the mind to think positively is a daily practice. It requires awareness, effort, and consistency, but over time, the brain adapts, and optimism becomes second nature. The way the world is seen determines how it is lived in. And by choosing to see the good, the possible, and the hope in every situation, life itself becomes a reflection of those thoughts.